Hey, Margie here. How do you wake up? Are you waking up feeling refreshed, energized, ready to embrace the day? Or just wanting to go back under the covers? Well, the good news is there's so much that we can do to ensure that we have a good night's sleep. And I'm so excited about today's special guest and topic because sleep is really essential for our bones, overall health, our happiness, and it's something a lot of us really don't pay attention to. So, our special guest is James Swanwick. And James is an Australian American investor, sleep expert, stop drinking expert, and former SportsCenter anchor on ESPN. He's the founder of Swanwick Sleep, which produces blue light blocking glasses, which are called Swannies, which I have right here, that are currently used by more than 200,000 professional athletes, business owners, and wellness enthusiasts wanting to reduce eye strain and sleep better. And he's the founder of Alcohol Free Lifestyle, which has now helped more than 100,000 high achievers stop or reduce alcohol. His sleep and alcohol expertise has been featured in the New York Times, Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, Psychology Today, and Harvard Business Review. He is the host of the podcast Alcohol Free Lifestyle and author of books The 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge and Sleep on Demand. Forbes listed James as one of the 25 professional networking events to watch. So, in today's podcast, he really gives us tangible things that we can all do to improve the quality of our sleep. So, stay tuned. Welcome, James, to the podcast. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much for having me. Happy to be here.
This is such an important topic. And a lot of people so often people don't appreciate sleep and they don't realize how critical it is. And when it comes to your bones, they've actually shown that there's reduced bone density and that people are more likely, more at risk for osteoporosis when they have reduced sleep, as well as coordination. So many things are affected by not having enough sleep. So everybody listening, this is critical. And I guess we should just talk. The reason we're both wearing the glasses, I'm going to take them off in a minute, is because these are Swannies that James created. And we'll talk about them later. But I've been using these. I can't even think back to when I wasn't using them. And yeah, we'll talk about them later. But anyway, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. Yes, sleep is so important to our health. And there've so many studies have coming out now that have linked poor sleep to obesity, to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, all kinds of really nasty health concerns when we don't sleep the way that nature intended us to sleep. We used to sleep pretty well back when we were cavemen and cave women. And then the modern luxuries, I guess, or the modern conveniences came in, which are wonderful. Things like electronic light and cell phones and TV screens and electronic light at night. But that same electronic light at night, which helps us in so many ways, can also really compromise so many areas of our health, particularly our sleep.
Before we even get into this, because what I like about this, I'm excited, is when I've helped people improve their sleep, everything gets better. It's one of those, it's one of those biohacks, I guess, that can just change your entire life. And people are like, oh my gosh, they didn't even realize how much energy they could have and how much better all in all they could be. But let's go back. I always like to hear the backstory, how you got into this, how you created these amazing glasses. So why don't you go a little bit back and
Mm.
share your story with us?
Yeah, well, I'm Australian American. I grew up in Australia in Brisbane, and I was a socially acceptable drinker of alcohol, I guess, all through my up until my mid 30s. And then when I was 35, I decided to just stop drinking for lifestyle reasons, just as an experiment to see what would happen. And in 30 days, I slept better. I lost about 13 pounds of belly fat. My skin improved. I just felt better. And I thought, well, this feels pretty good. I'll just keep on going with this. And I haven't drunk alcohol since 2010. And that one habit change led me down a path of many really amazing health hacks, I guess you could say. And I started focusing on nutrition and health and sleep. And as it relates to sleep, I was in a Palm Springs hotel restaurant with a friend of mine, and he was wearing a very unattractive pair of Uvex safety goggles to dinner. And it was quite a fancy restaurant. He kind of looked like a meth chemist sitting in a restaurant. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm blocking the blue light." And I said, "Blocking the blue light? What are you talking about?" And he went on to explain that in the modern world, our bedroom light, bathroom light, kitchen light, microwave light, refrigerator light, speedometer light in your car, the McDonald's golden arches lights that you see as you're driving along the highway, all of that light at night is compromising our body's ability to create and release melatonin. And melatonin is what helps us to sleep well. And so I went back to my home in Los Angeles at the time, and I dug out an old pair of ski goggles that I had, which had an amber tinge or an amber lens to them. And I started wearing these ridiculous ski goggles at night while watching reruns of the TV series Mad Men on AMC. And what I noticed was that I felt sleepier quicker. And when I ultimately removed these ski goggles and turned off the light and went to sleep, I realized that I was falling asleep quicker. And when I woke up in the morning, I felt noticeably more refreshed. And so I thought, wow, there's something to this wearing ridiculous meth chemist looking goggles or to block light at night. And then that was the idea hit me. Why don't I create a stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses with an orange lens that I can comfortably wear at the end of an evening to block the light while I'm on screens, while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm, in my home reading a book, which will then improve my sleep. And so that's how the company was created. I created this company called Swanwick Sleep. My last name is Swanwick. The glasses have affectionately become known as Swannies. We've helped about 200,000 people to sleep better with these glasses. They're now worn by professional athletes at the New York Knicks and Chicago Bulls, and the University of Washington has done a comprehensive study on them and shown that people who wear the glasses sleep 11% better during the night. And it's just kind of caught on from there, really.
Oh, I love that. So it's funny. My story is that I started doing a night class on the computer. And I didn't realize, like, why am I up all night? What's going on here? I truly had insomnia. I thought, it didn't hit me. This is quite a while ago. That if I did this night class, I didn't sleep, and then that's when it hit me that, oh, okay. I mean, I saw if I'm on the computer after 9, my night is shot, unless I wear the glasses. But so that was one thing that started me. But then the other thing, we got a new TV, and it was just bigger and more colors. And I started thinking, what's going on with my sleep? And I wasn't wearing the glasses at that time, in the evening with the TV, just with the computer. But that was a mistake. So once I started wearing the glasses, no problem. And you're right, though. I started with a pair of like construction goggles, because they make those also with the, with the orange tinge and the amber tinge. And but they fell apart. These are really sturdy, and they look nice, and they're comfortable, because these look great. And you have all sorts of, really, I see all these stylish ones. I'm so happy with these, and they've lasted, they last. They're great. So anyway, yeah. So this stuff really, really, really works. And you have a lot of other hacks as well in terms of sleep, because it's so important. It's, don't take my word for it. Just try some of these, because once your sleep improves, you will just be, you'll be so surprised how much, right, how much energy you can have when you improve your sleep. So
Yeah,
tell us,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about what are your favorite, if we had to, if we had to say like 5 things that you would suggest for people who want to, wake up refreshed and feeling good in the morning.
Mhm.
What would you say your top
Yeah.
5 tips are?
Well, why don't I give you what I refer to as the gold standard of sleep? And this is what you can do from the moment that you wake up in the morning until the moment that you turn off the light and roll over and fall asleep. And it's kind of like a what to do during the day to ensure that you get the type of sleep that nature always intended you to sleep. So, in my experience and in my study, the 2 most important things you can do are first thing in the morning and last thing at night. So starting with the daytime, the best thing that you can do when you wake up in the morning is expose your skin to as much natural sunlight as possible. Now, our skin has receptors in it, and when sunlight hits our skin, whether it's on our face or our arm or our fingers, it tells our internal body clock, which is known as our circadian rhythm, wake up, daytime, time to go. And what it does is your body starts to release daytime hormones, including cortisol. Now, too much cortisol we don't want, but first thing in the morning, we want cortisol. We want to get going. We want to get up and moving. Now, when you expose your skin to that sunlight first thing in the morning, the clock begins. Your internal body clock goes, right, got it. This is daytime. And then just naturally, about 16 hours later, your body is then going to want to release melatonin to start to prepare for sleep. However, if you are like many folks in the world who stay indoors for the first 2 or 3 hours of a day, even though you're up and you're moving around, your body's still a little unsure. It's like, is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Am I supposed to be flooding the body with cortisol? Am I trying to like still sleep? Your body's a little bit confused. And that can show up later on at nighttime with you struggling to fall asleep or tossing and turning the night or waking up feeling unsettled. So the best advice I can give in terms of what to do first thing in the morning is really get out there and expose yourself to as much natural light as possible. Now, many people in North America, particularly, or the Northern Hemisphere, where the sun doesn't get up until some, couple of hours after you've woken up, ask the question quite rightly, well, what do I do if I wake up at 6 and the sun doesn't get up until 8? And the answer is you can buy a wake up lamp or a wake up light. There's one from the company, I think it's from Philips or Panasonic. I think it might be Philips. And this light, it kind of acts as an alarm clock where it starts to turn on and shine on your body to mimic the sun. And just gradually over the course of 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it gets increasingly brighter as if the sun is coming up. So you can manipulate your indoor environment somewhat by exposing yourself to that light if you are indeed waking up before the sun gets up.
So you're saying 10 to 30 minutes? What's the ideal for people listening? They're like, oh, I never go outside in the morning. What would you recommend?
So it honestly, even just 5 minutes is sufficient, but I would certainly recommend that you exercise in the morning and get out in the sunlight and try to make it an hour, try to make it 45 minutes an hour if you can. And that kind of comes to my second point about the importance of morning exercise. Would you like me to move into that?
Yes, go into that, because that is a lot of people, just fit it into their day and they're working and they rush to work and then they think, okay, I'll just exercise at night. It fits better into my schedule. So there's reasons why the morning's better. So why don't you tell us?
Yeah, they've done studies. They did a study out of a Pakistan university, and it showed, and what they did was they had people exercise in the morning, at lunchtime, and in the evening. And what they found is that the group of people who exercised in the morning slept noticeably better during the night. Now, they think this is because of two reasons. One, people who exercise in the morning tend to exercise more regularly than those who exercise at night, because when you exercise first thing in the morning, it's the first thing you do, you get it out of the way. As the day goes on, maybe some distractions come up and it's a bit easier to say, I'm not going to exercise today, there's too much stuff going on. So, and people who are healthier or who exercise more regularly in general tend to be healthier overall, and that lends itself to a good night's sleep. The other reason they think that people who exercise in the morning sleep better is because you want to have a very cool body temperature when you sleep. And the closer to bedtime that you're exercising, the higher your core body temperature, which is not conducive to a good night's sleep. So the further away from bedtime you can exercise, the better, as it relates to keeping your core body temperature nice and cool.
Okay, great. And how many hours? What do you recommend the average adult gets?
In terms of sleep?
Yeah.
Well, they've done many studies that show that anywhere from at least 7 to 8 hours, maybe eight and a little bit, is best. However, most people don't get that. So the answer is as many as you can, but also focusing on the quality of your sleep, because 6 quality hours of sleep is probably going to be a lot better for you than 7 hours of tossing and turning and not spending much time in that REM or deep phase of sleep. Now, having said that, there are always exceptions. Presidents of the United States famously don't sleep as much as what is generally regarded. Barack Obama, I think, slept 6 hours a night. President Donald Trump, I think, slept less than 5, maybe even only 4 hours a night. I'm not sure what President Biden or George Bush slept. And then you have people like Elon Musk, the billionaire, who sleeps only 4 or 5 hours a night. But Jeff Bezos sleeps 8 hours a night, he says. So, and he puts a very high premium on his sleep. So there are, excuse me, there are outliers of people who can function in life on 4 hours of sleep seemingly, but generally speaking, it's not advisable. If you can aim for at least 7, preferably 8, and do that consistently over a lifetime, your quality of life is going to be considerably higher.
Yeah, it's interesting because I teach this happiness class, and I do a little challenge with people to go to bed 3 nights in a row if they can, if they're not someone who goes to bed 1 in the morning, but at 10 o'clock. And people feel so much better, when they've gotten that extra sleep, just sort of to challenge themselves. Like, how does that feel? So let's move on because there's let's talk about the darkness, because that's so critical as well. And why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. So they've done a study, and it came out only about 2 months ago, which showed that any light touching your skin or you being exposed to during the night compromises your body's ability to sleep. So that can include an alarm clock light, light from traffic lights coming in your room, an air conditioning light. I'm not sure if you've been in a hotel room recently, but it is so anti-sleep. It's crazy that they claim to be, so caring about your sleep, but you've got the alarm clock light blaring at you. You've got the air conditioning light blaring at you. You've got the TV screen light. Even if the TV screen's off, when it's in standby mode, there's still a light flashing at you. It's insanity. So the study showed that even at that amount of light is enough for your body to kind of feel like, oh, daytime. Is it daytime? Is it daytime? Or I'm not quite going to go to sleep. I'm not quite going to go into that 100% deep restorative phase of sleep. It's kind of, even though you are sleeping from a physiological stance, it's kind of like your body's sleeping, but you've got one eye open, kind of like being aware of your surroundings. So literally pulling out all of the electronics from your room when you sleep is absolutely preferable. You also don't want to wake up too early. So to that sense, investing in a very dark, heavy pair of curtains will definitely be preferable. One thing that the hotel rooms do seem to get right is that they do have very dark, heavy curtains, which black out light from outside. It's just all the other annoying lights that they have in the room that's a real problem. So ensuring that you make your room as dark as possible, with a pair of dark blackout curtains is going to be really, really important. And certainly in the last hour before sleep, you absolutely want to be wearing a pair of blue light blocking glasses like you and I are both wearing now, because that orange lens blocks out the artificial light from your kitchen light, your bathroom light, your microwave light. And no matter how many times you tell me that you don't use your cell phone in the last hour before sleep, I don't believe you. I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to most of our listeners. because I am guilty as the next human being of being on my phone. However, when I'm on my phone, even in the last hour before sleep, which is a bit naughty of me, I shouldn't be even be doing that. I'm absolutely 100% of the time wearing a pair of my blue light blocking glasses, feeling comfortable and confident that I am repelling that nasty blue light that is blasting out of your cell phone screen or your tablet or your television screen. So yes, just to summarize that, you want a very dark room, and in the last hour before sleep, you absolutely must invest in wearing a pair of blue light blocking glasses.
Yeah, I actually wear start at 8 o'clock. I go to bed usually around 10, 8 o'clock.
Perfect.
8 o'clock every night they're on. And
Perfect. Even
but
better. I'm saying the last hour
yeah.
because I know human beings and I know myself, and I know that. I mean, you're the gold standard. Like, you're definitely doing the gold standard if you put them on in the last 2 hours. That's terrific. However, I advise people the last hour because for most people, wearing them for more than an hour for whatever reason is seems challenging.
The other thing I use, and I know you have, and I know you have a wonderful product, is, and I have to, because even though my good curtains, there's for some reason there's still this light that comes in, even though from the outside. So I have to wear every night. I wear the mask, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
changed my life. And I would never, just like you said, it's horrible when you travel because they have lights everywhere. And I think a lot of them are safety lights, but they can completely destroy your sleep. So that's been really a godsend to me. Do you want to talk about the mask? I think it's such a
Yeah.
great little device. And my whole family, I mean, all of my kids, I guess because they grew up with this, I bring extra, when we travel. I mean, my kids are all grown now, but I always bring extra in case somebody forgets it because it's that important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing. If you can wear a sleep mask to block out that light so it's not hitting your eyes and you're not exposed to that, that is going to be so preferable to not wearing one, and so beneficial to a great night's sleep. So we have a sleep mask. It's 100% pure silk, and silk is a really great fabric because it actually retains the moisture in your skin. So if you wear a cotton mask, like those kind of masks that they'd give you on an airplane, for example, that kind of like eat into the back of your
Oh,
head, and
yeah, they're miserable.
yeah, they're not particularly pleasant. And then once you wake up from a sleep from wearing that mask, your skin's quite dry. But when you wear a silk mask, silk retains moisture in your skin. So they've done a study that shows that the folks who wear silk sleep masks, when they wake up in the morning, they have something, I don't know the exact number, but let's say something around 30% less visible wrinkles or evidence of dry skin. So not only are you wearing, can you wear a top quality sleep mask to block out the light, but it actually serves as a natural moisturizer throughout the night as well. Because if you're sleeping for 7 or 8 hours, wouldn't you like to sleep for 7 or 8 hours and retain the moisture in your skin? So when you wake up, you kind of have a glow to you as opposed to looking, I'd say, weathered by comparison.
Oh yeah, and
Our,
wrinkles too. I think all of us, no one wants to increase our wrinkles at night.
yeah, well, we're all just vain enough, aren't we? Like, I'm as vain as the next person. I want to look as good as I can. Our mask is deliberately designed to be what we refer to as oversized, because some masks, they just cover the eyes, but some can get in underneath or in the side or from the top. Whereas ours is deliberately oversized mask, and it actually won the world's best sleep mask in 2017, which was, obviously 5 years ago. Not sure why we haven't won the last 5 years, but certainly in 2017 it was voted world's best sleep mask, and you can get that on our website.
The other thing that's interesting, because there are people in this community who don't want to fall at night. As people get older, they're afraid if there's no light. So I remember my father-in-law, oh my gosh, he would keep like the lights completely on. So, or if someone needed to have like a little bit of a bathroom light on, then this is perfect because at least it gives you the blocking that you need. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people sleep with lights on. It's sort of crazy. because they're afraid. They're afraid that they could fall at night if they wake up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, so just to that point, we actually have designed a light that has stripped away 99% of the blue light that is responsible for messing with your melatonin production. So it's a little night light that you can plug in on the floor or on the bench or wherever in your bathroom, for example, or in your hallway. So when someone gets up to use the bathroom in the night, as many of us do, you don't fall over because everything is so pitch black. So um, the light that we have created has stripped away 99% of the light that is responsible for messing with your melatonin release.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. I haven't seen that. Oh, I have to check that out. That's wonderful.
Yeah. In actual fact, it's removed 100% of the blue light, but legally we're not allowed to say 100%. We have to say 99.9%. So, yeah, that's a very small little device. You just plug it into your electronic circuit, and either in the hallway or the bathroom. And then when you get up in the night, you can feel comfortable, using the bathroom, getting a glass of water, whatever it is that you do. See your surroundings, but just be comfortable in the knowledge that you're not suppressing your melatonin release.
Oh, that's great. You talked about earlier about the exercise at night because you don't want to raise your core body temperature because that's going to interfere with sleep. Is there a certain temperature that you recommend keeping the room at?
Yes. So cool is better. 69 degrees Fahrenheit or about 18.5 degrees Celsius is probably is optimal. Now, just a warning, especially for the ladies, that is quite cool. And women tend to feel the cool a lot more than men, just simply because men are bigger and that they carry more. They're kind of a bigger body of mass that can actually warm itself up a little bit more. But cool is definitely better. All the studies, all the studies show that 65 to 69 degrees Fahrenheit or around 18.5 degrees Celsius, keeping that cool temperature in your room is conducive to a wonderful night's sleep. Remember, the hotter you are, the warmer you are, the less quality sleep you're subjecting yourself to.
Great. Now, interesting. You had talked about alcohol, and a lot of people drink at night. A lot of people will go out, or a lot of people who are, yeah, they're just feeling stressed. Let me have my late night. And they feel that relaxes them so they can get a better night's sleep. So, why don't you talk to that point? Because I don't think people realize that may not be the best, that's not the best strategy. So, what does it actually do when you have alcohol at night?
Yeah, so I'm well researched on this. In fact, I have another business called Alcohol Free Lifestyle, and I help high achievers, entrepreneurs, executives, parents, etc., to stop drinking alcohol, or at the very least have a much better relationship with alcohol. I have a podcast in Apple Podcasts called Alcohol Free Lifestyle, which is quite popular for people who are looking to have a better relationship with alcohol. And one of the things that I say to them on that podcast is, you're actually better off having alcohol for breakfast than you are at nighttime if getting a great night's sleep is your goal. And the reason for that is this. Alcohol is just poison. It's filled with toxins. It's attractively packaged poison, no question. But drinking any amount of alcohol has zero nutritional and health benefits. And drinking close to bedtime, you may as well just be taking a shotgun and just lining your sleep up against a wall and just executing a great night's sleep. Because when you drink alcohol, yes, you may feel sleepier. You may think that it's relaxing you and preparing you for sleep. However, when you fall asleep, your body then has to go to work to break down the toxins, to get the toxins out of your body that you've just consumed. And we don't want our body to go to work when we're sleeping. We want our body to rest when we're sleeping. We want our body to repair, to restore. We want our body to be in a deep relaxation phase. So when you have a seemingly innocent glass of wine or two at the end of the night, to quote unquote relax, you are just setting yourself up for a compromised night of sleep and an irritable morning and a tired, lethargic feeling throughout the following day. Now, I jokingly say you're better off having wine for breakfast or a beer for breakfast, but literally it is actually true, because at least then you'll give your body about 12 hours to get the toxins out, to go to work, to remove the toxins. So by the time sleep at night, say 10 o'clock at night rolls around, at the very least, your body's already gone to work and got rid of those toxins. Now, of course, I am not encouraging or inviting anyone to have beer and wine for breakfast. I am inviting you to consider eliminating alcohol from your life entirely. At the very least, reducing significantly. And certainly if sleep and optimal health is your goal, do not drink close to night to bedtime, because it is a sleep destroyer.
I know there's a lot of people listening that do have issues with alcohol, even small ones, where they're really dependent on that evening drink. So what do you have that they can, well, we'll put the links in the show notes, but what programs are available to people?
Yeah. So I have a flagship program, or programs, I should say. We have a 90-day stop drinking group, and we have a 1-year-long stop drinking group. And we also have a 30-day stop drinking group. But the flagship program is really the 90 days, where people come in, and for 90 days, we give them access to Zoom calls, group Zoom calls with other clients and members. We send them a pre-recorded training video each day, about 5 minutes in duration, which helps really to reposition alcohol in your life from this glorious thing that we all worship and savor and think is so marvelous, to what it actually is, which is attractively packaged poison, which causes us frustration and irritability and unwanted weight gain and strained relationships. And don't think that just because you have a glass or two each night, that's not compromising your health. It is, no question. I can say that definitively, because I'm well researched on this. I've read this thoroughly. Any amount of alcohol is not good for you. It's just plain and simple. And so what we do is we teach people how to stop drinking. We teach people how to have fun and socialize when you're the only person not drinking. We teach people how to network in business without drinking. We teach people how to go on boat trips and go to weddings, and when everyone else is toasting the bride and groom with champagne, we teach folks how to toast with soda water ice and a piece of lime. I was just in a wedding just last weekend in Amsterdam. A good friend of mine was getting married, and there was lots of alcohol present, but I was surprised, actually, pleasantly surprised, to see that it probably only a good 30 or 40% of the wedding guests weren't drinking alcohol. And we had a fabulous time. We were dancing, and we just drank soda water ice and a piece of lime and some mocktails all night. And, the wedding ended at 1:30. We got back to the hotel at about 3. I went to sleep at 3:30. And when I woke up the next morning, admittedly, I was tired because I just hadn't slept as much as I would have, but it wasn't a hungover tired. It wasn't I feel sick tired. It was just oh man, that was a good night. I'm tired.
You talked about the poison and the alcohol, and especially before bed. Well, what about timing of food before bed? Because I know there are a lot of people will have their night snack, or they'll have. Is there anything do you have any feelings about that?
Yeah, so you would definitely want to avoid eating within 3 hours of your proposed sleep time. So you mentioned you go to sleep at 10 p.m. In your case, having the last bite of your last meal is going to be best at 7 p.m. And that's because we want our body to spend those hours breaking down the food, digesting the food, moving the nutrients into the certain section, trying to, break down food and put it through the digestive tract. What's your body doing when you eat, after you've eaten? It's working, right? It's going to work. Now, most people, they'll have a late night snack, or they'll have dinner at 8:39 and try to go to bed at 10. And, you may fall asleep just fine. Maybe that's not your issue. but the quality of your sleep, again, is going to be compromised, because the moment you actually fall asleep, your body is not going into that deep restorative phase of sleep. Your body's still working. It's still trying to digest that food. Not to mention, eating food raises your core body temperature as well. And remember, we want a cool body temperature. So the general rule is, if you're going to go to sleep at 10, have your last meal at 7. If you're going to go to sleep at 9, have your last meal at 6. And some people might be in shock or horror. Oh, I can't do that. Well, okay, don't do it. But there are consequences to every choice. And the consequences are not a great night's sleep. And that could show up with irritability and frustration. And like I said, unwanted weight gain and some more serious issues down the line. So it's actually easier than I think most people think. It's just when we get into these habits and we're so rigid in our habits, the idea of any change feels so challenging and undesirable. But I'll tell you what I do. I mean, I tend to go to sleep around 10, and I have an alarm that goes off in my phone at 6:30, and it says 30 minutes to complete eating. And so that reminds me, I got to eat. I got to have my dinner now. I got 30 minutes to go. And then, yeah, and that's a great reminder for me. And when I make plans to have dinner with friends, I always suggest early dinners, and some of them are like, "Oh, that's too early." And I'm like, "All right, no problems. I guess I won't see you there." you know. And then, of course, I'll accept invitations to other people. It's not like I'm so strict on it that I just refuse to go out and socialize with people who have invited me to a dinner that happens to be later at night. Of course, I'll go and I'll have the dinner, but that tends to be more of a isolated, rare occasion. Whereas most of the time, I'm quite regimental and focused on making sure I get my dinner eating timing right.
I agree with you. Of course, you're going to make exceptions and you want to, live your life and enjoy your life. But the thing is, for people, try these things because they make such a difference. The other thing I see a lot of times is people's blood sugar goes up and down, and they don't realize that they're waking up in the middle of the night because of, blood sugar spikes because they've eaten, a big piece of chocolate cake or, so it's very interesting. And yeah. And I guess once people start, it's just taking one step at a time, one small step. Maybe start with the glasses and then, okay, I'll put my food a little earlier. When you gradually do these habits, eventually you can adopt them. And wow, what a difference. I mean, I should say I have issues because my husband delivers babies. So he is an OBGYN. So no matter what I do, there's certain nights where the phone is ringing 10 times. And I really should just move to another room in the house, but I haven't done that. So there are times where, and his sleep can be a disaster, but that's just part of, so it's so important than the other nights that he's not getting up in the middle of the night that, he sleeps. So all these things that you're talking about are really critical
Mm.
because it's a different type of world when you have to wake up at 3 a.m. and run in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There is one more thing, actually, I would say, and that's regarding coffee.
Yes, tell us about coffee.
Yeah. So all of the coffee drinkers are like, "Oh my God, what's he going to say? He's going to take away my coffee." Relax. You can still have your coffee if you choose. However, um, my suggestion would be that you do not drink coffee after 12 p.m. So in the afternoon. If you are going to drink coffee, my suggestion would be that you drink coffee in the morning only. And studies have shown if you can avoid coffee within 8 hours of sleep, that will be conducive to a good night's sleep. Now, the reason for that is coffee contains caffeine, and caffeine is a stimulant, and a stimulant in your body is not conducive to a great night's sleep. Now, I can already hear listeners throwing their hands up in the air and protesting and saying, "But I have a cappuccino or a latte for dessert after dinner each night, and I sleep just fine." Well, what I would say to you is, you may fall asleep just fine. You may even think that you're sleeping just fine. But in the universe that we occupy, it is a physical impossibility that caffeine is not compromising your sleep quality. If you invest in an Aura ring, for example, or some kind of wearable where you can track your sleep, I invite you to track your sleep on those nights where you have coffee in the last few hours before sleep. And then I invite you to experiment with not drinking coffee for a few nights and also track your sleep. And I think that you will most likely see a marked improvement in your sleep metrics from the sleep where you did not drink coffee in the last few hours before sleep. So as a rule, again, if you're going to sleep at 10, have your last coffee before 2 p.m. I mean, an 8-hour window, giving yourself an 8-hour window is preferable. However, I like to make the rule, because I've drunk coffee on and off over the years, and I've always just made a rule with myself, which is I never have a coffee in the afternoon. Like, if I'm going to drink coffee, it only happens in the morning. As soon as that clock hits 12 p.m., that's it. I'm done for the day. That's just my own little rule. You can change or amend that or use that as as you see fit. But generally speaking, you don't want to be drinking coffee within 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, so it's interesting because a lot of people will want that afternoon pickup. So that's exactly counterproductive to improving your sleep. And so I guess it's interesting because I used to drink coffee and I used to be addicted to chocolate as well. And so, and you would just feel you need that. But when you change your diet and change your lifestyle, you don't need that at all. You have energy throughout the day. So I think it's not a necessity. And what about tea? Same thing in terms of, green tea, in terms of the caffeinated teas.
Yeah, anything with caffeine in it is going to compromise your sleep. So same thing. I mean, if you've got decaf, that can be okay. I like to drink roasted dandelion,
Yeah.
which is kind of, it's not the same as coffee, but it's somewhat similar. And I like the ritual. I like the ritual of having a hot mug of something in the morning. And so I carry around with me little satchels of roasted dandelion, and I take it with me if I'm on the road, and I pour hot water and I drink that, and that mimics the ritual of me creating a cup of coffee. Having said that, I do love coffee when I drink it, but it never really agrees with me after a while. I think for the first 2 or 3 weeks when I take up coffee, I love it, I enjoy it, I love the taste, I like the feeling. And then something switches in my body around the 3 or 4 week mark, where I wake up in the morning and I feel like I need it to function. And also when I drink it later on, I start to feel anxious and irritable and like agitated. It doesn't really agree with my system after a certain point. So at the moment, I'm off it.
That's so funny. I'm off it as well. And years ago, I was in my early 20s, my first job. And as a physical therapist, you're working, you have notes to write. So you come back to the note room and you're writing your notes, and there's a big thing of coffee. I was up to 6 cups a day. Can you
Wow.
imagine? This is a long time ago. And then one morning I slept a little later and I had to do a big presentation and I didn't have my coffee. And I was a zombie. I completely did the worst job. And that was it. I went cold turkey. I said, I cannot live like this. I realized how addicted I was. So then I totally stayed off it. Then I sort of introduced it a little bit when I drive to New York City. Sometimes there's so many lights that, it just would keep me awake. But now I just have it very, very rarely. And I feel better without it. I really do, because that's what happens. I start, oh, it's just really good. I'll have another, and then you do. Yeah. So I agree with you. But you're right about it affects your sleep if you have it later in the day. There's no question. Yeah. Well, this has been anything else you want to leave everybody with? The glasses are, this is life-changing, and how easy. And the interesting thing is, as I said, I had one of those other pairs and they really do fall apart, because you can get them cheaper. You can get, but they're not the same quality. Like these are just comfortable. You put these on at night and you feel sort of like, okay, I'm good. But is there anything else that you want to leave everybody with, or any last wisdom you want to share with everybody?
Just in relation to the glasses, a lot of folks ask, should you wear the orange lensed blue blockers during the daytime or not? It's a very common question. And another mistaken belief is that wearing a pair of clear lensed blue light blocking glasses will help you with your sleep. So just to address those 2 points. Yes, you can wear your orange lensed blue blockers during the day when you're on a computer screen, for example. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to wear the clear lensed daytime glasses. So I'm putting these on now for those who are watching on the video. For those who are just listening on the audio, I'm just putting on a pair of blue blockers which has a clear lens. Now, I will only wear the clear lensed blue blockers during the daytime on computers. Now, what it does is actually filters the blue light, so it prevents eye fatigue, head strain, migraines. It keeps me nice and energized throughout the day by not that blue light not blasting my eyes. Then at nighttime, I will move to what we refer to as the nighttime blue blockers, which has the orange lens. And this is critical for your sleep. You must wear a pair of orange lensed blue blockers at night to block enough of the blue light responsible for messing with your sleep. You cannot block enough of the blue light with a pair of clear lensed glasses at nighttime. It doesn't matter what you see in marketing from companies that say all blue blockers help you sleep. Not true. Only orange lensed blue blockers help you sleep. Clear lens blue blockers do not, because the clear lens ones don't block enough of the blue light that's responsible for messing with your melatonin production. So if you are going to invest in a pair of blue blockers, my suggestion is at the very least, absolutely 100%, make sure you get the orange lens nighttime glasses. And then my suggestion would be also get a pair of the daytime glasses with the clear lens and use the daytime ones during the day. So just to summarize that, clear lens daytime use, orange lens nighttime use. And if you stick to that and you rotate the glasses that way, you're going to have lots of energy throughout the day and you're going to sleep like a baby and the way that nature intended you to sleep during the night.
Well, I'm going to buy. I have not used the clear ones during the day. I'm, religious about these. I just live on these. But that's so interesting. I will try the day ones. Because I'm on the computer a lot. So that's a great tip. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for all that you've done. The fact that you had an idea and you created these amazing classes. So I'm very grateful to you and your whole company. Your company is so many other things. And I'll give people links to the products and to, how they can, if they're interested in just to see everything that you have. But, you've done a lot of work in this field and changing lives, which must make you feel pretty good.
It does. Thank you. Yeah. There's easier ways in life to make a buck than trying to persuade people to stop drinking alcohol and to change their habits so they sleep better. However, it does indeed fill me with much gratitude and joy about making an impact in people's lives, a genuine impact in people's lives. I'm thrilled to hear you describe the benefits that you've personally generated for yourself in some small part from using our products. So that does feel good. So I appreciate that very much.
It is funny because I really didn't, especially when I got the new TV, I was like, what's going on here? How am I not sleeping? Or when I first started the class, this is real. This is not fake. I mean, that's the first thing when I work with people in terms of like, get off those tablets. And people are totally addicted. I see my kids and I see, the world, as you said, is totally addicted to, looking at their email before bed, looking at their tablets. And yeah, so this is so life-changing. I can't wait to hear. Please, everybody, when you try any of these things, you have to share with us what worked and how it made a difference, because I know it will. I've worked with enough people who have done these things and saw such changes in just really every aspect of their life and their happiness, their mood, right? Because how should people wake up in the morning? It's not like, right? How should they? What should the feeling be?
I mean, we should wake up in the morning and just feel the way nature intended us to wake up. We don't need to be skipping out of bed singing, my, oh my, what a wonderful day. But we certainly don't need to be waking up with dread and regret and a feeling of like,
Yeah, get me the coffee, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, I can't thank you enough. This has been so informative, and I look forward to staying in touch. And I'm going to get those regular glasses without the colored lens for myself. I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure.
Oh, thanks again. I hope you enjoyed my interview with James and now have some strategies that you can put into place to ensure that you're getting that good night's sleep. That's going to have such a positive effect on your bones, overall health, and happiness. All the links that James talked about will be in the show notes. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.